Hello everyone, Mr. MC here, back with another Gran Turismo 7 racing video. This time we're at Daily Race A at the Nordschleife with select pre-tuned cars. I'm going to go ahead and get this started right away, and off we go. Use traction control at 1 just for the grid start, and then whack it down to 0. Just try to be nice and careful through this first turn. Although I did go wide, I forgot what an apex is. It has been a while since I've been on the wheel, so I am trying to get unrusty from it. Is that the word for it? Either way, just gonna try to play it nice and careful because 1, this is a Nordschleife that we're talking about, and 2, at least to me, with the way that the cars are tuned, because you can only rent these cars, and we actually don't know what tunes these cars have. Like, you cannot see their tuning page or anything like that. At least to me, it feels like these cars are a bit too stiff, and especially if you hit a bump, the cars do not tolerate it that well, and they will try to murder you. So just gotta be really careful whenever hit a bump, or just try to avoid hitting bumps, as the Honda on the left is gonna go ahead and turn to John Deere. Gonna go ahead and pass the F40 as well, so went up 2 positions right there. So far we're doing pretty good. Just gonna go ahead and see if we can catch up to the Corvette just up in front, but I do got to be careful right here. Use a little bit of braking to try to stay on the track, and unfortunately the Porsche is going to go ahead and go straight into the wall, and we're going to go ahead and gain another spot right there, and just going to see if we can try to get past 4th place. Although this was my first race of the night, so I am going to play it extremely safe because 1, this is a Nordschleife, and unfortunately here it is pretty difficult to try to get a pass done, and if you do try to get a pass done, you have to be extremely careful. So if you make a little mistake, that could potentially cause you to spin out, go into the grass, hit the barriers, and you're just not going to have a good time right there. Although here, okay, I'm going to be honest, I think here I was being way too cautious because I could have easily passed a Corvette because he was going a hell of a lot slower, and I could have just easily passed him there, but for some reason, I think it was just me just playing it way too safe. I decided just not to pass him. I'm going to see if I could try to just stay right behind him, maybe even give him a bit of a bump draft to try to catch up to 3rd place, who's not too far up ahead. Actually, 2nd place as well. Both 3rd and 2nd are not too far up ahead. So yeah, there we go, giving him a little bump right there. Just try to be a bit careful through here, although again I think I'm being a bit too careful because I could have gone through that corner a bit faster, but I'm just being too cautious because the last thing I want to do is bin it and look like a fool. So yeah, so here I'm finally gonna go ahead and get past him, as the Corvette just, it looks like it's just not moving at all, and it's gonna go ahead and enjoy getting 4th place for now. Gonna see if we can try to catch up to 3rd and 2nd place, as it looks like they are starting to fight it out a bit. Gonna try to be a bit careful through here after a pretty long straight that we just went through. So nice and careful through there. Got to be a bit careful through the carousel. Really easy to overshoot it when you're braking for this turn and end up getting spit out of the carousel. There we go. Nice and careful through there. Now this part until the back straight, at least to me, it's probably one of the more dangerous areas. Lots of bumps, lots of corners that just come at you really fast, and if you make even just one little mistake, the best case scenario messes up your line a bit, but you do lose quite a bit of time. Worst case scenario, you end up in the wall. Especially right here. Here, when I was doing the time trial runs, I felt like I was spinning it a lot over here. So it's going to try to be really careful there. Being a bit too harsh right there, as I almost went into the grass. The SLR, having a bit of a moment there, but he is able to keep it on the track, so that's pretty good on his part. Although he's probably going to have a bit of a hard time trying to get past the F40, as at least to me the F40 felt really good to drive here. The SLR was okay to drive, it was stable, but it wasn't the fastest car, as the Corvette's hanging out right behind me, as it looks like the Corvette does pretty well when it comes to cornering. At least the way it's tuned, it does pretty well in the corners. Gonna brake right before the jump, just try to be careful right there. and then just gonna go ahead and try to go as fast as I can through here. But the slipstream is really damn strong, so I'm gonna get pulled a bit. Although I'm gonna go into the bumps and just somehow save it right there. Somehow just not going to the grass. So I'm gonna go ahead and start braking for this turn, but I'm gonna be a bit too harsh on the brakes. The car's gonna go ahead and step out quite a bit. It's going to the grass, and actually somehow managed to save it again. That's a freaking brown pants moment right there. Gonna need a new pair of pants, but I do have dirty tires, and that's gonna end up sending me wide out of the mini carousel, which is gonna let the Corvette pass me. But we do have the long back straight coming up right now, and the Corvette has very little power. I think in this daily race it's tuned to have almost like 50 or 60 horsepower less than all the other cars, so we're just gonna go ahead and easily pass him. And it doesn't help that the slipstream is super strong, so I was just gonna go ahead and go even faster behind him until I passed him. Now, the only thing I don't know is how far the slipstream range is with these settings. I was thinking it's probably around 2 seconds, but I'm not 100% sure how far you need to be within the slipstream range. But gonna go ahead and brake for the final corner. Although I ended up messing up this braking, so I think I just overshot it, forgot to compensate for the slipstream speed, which is unfortunately just gonna go ahead and let the Corvette pass me. And what could have been in fourth place, okay, he's just gonna go to the wall. What could have been in fourth place is unfortunately not gonna be the case. Gonna end up in 5th place. But for the first time entering a daily race in a while, first time being on the wheel in, I'm gonna say about 2 months. Yeah, I think around 2 months. Not too bad. So we're gonna go ahead and jump back in, because honestly, I think this daily race is pretty fun, and I want to have a bit of fun. So let's go ahead and get ready to start race number 2 of this night. I think this was recorded on Monday. This Ferrari decided not to start, so I'm gonna go ahead and easily gain a position right there. Gonna try to be nice and careful through turn number 1. Still forgetting what an apex is, although I was a bit closer to it, and already 8th place. There's already a bit of a gap, but if we get bunched up, so if the front pack and I get bunched up, then everyone behind is going to easily catch up to us, especially with the really strong slipstream. If 8th place gets relatively close, I want to say around 2 seconds. If they're within 2 seconds behind, then they'll probably be able to attach to the slipstream and then catch up a bit there. But again, I don't know if it's 2 seconds. I want to say it's 2 seconds, so I'm just going to go with that. But for me, I need to try to catch up to the Porsche up ahead, as I need to make a bit of progress to try to get as close as I can to first place. Although that is going to be a bit of a tall order, because again, it's Nordschleife. It's really difficult to get it past them without jeopardizing your own race, especially with this track being so unforgiving. But unfortunately, the Ferrari up ahead is going to go ahead and John Deere himself into the wall and go across the track and hit the other side of the wall. 2 other cars are just going to go ahead and bin it. Going to go ahead and gain 3 spots in just 1 corner. Yeah, I'm going to say 1 corner. So up into 4th place, podium not too far up ahead. All I need to do is just pass a Porsche and I'm already in podium. Although 2nd and 1st place are just up ahead, so what I was thinking is, if I can somehow catch up to the Porsche, I can try to give them a bit of a bump draft, and maybe that little bit of extra boost from the bump drafting will let us catch up to 2nd and 1st place, which will give us all a chance to try to fight for the win. But I do have to be a bit careful. Again, this is Nordschleife, not a forgiving track at all, so I'm going to go ahead and be an idiot and just go through that turn way too slowly. So I really could have been right behind the Porsche and give him a couple of bump drafts from there, but because I took it so carefully, it's not really going to help my cause. So I'm not going to be able to give him that much of a bump draft. So actually, I think, do I give him a bump draft? I don't, because I realized here it was a bit too late to try to give a bump draft, so it's going to go ahead and just stay right behind him. Try to be careful here. And again, I'm being a bit too careful, as it has been a while since I've done daily races. and even just done daily races on the wheel or just been on the wheel. So try not to make myself look like a fool. It's gonna be nice to come through here, and actually I think it looks like we are slowly inching closer and closer to first place, or second and first place. So we are doing pretty good. The last thing I want to do is fight it out with the Porsche in third place, as if we start to fight it out, then they're just gonna go ahead and run off into the sunset. Although I'm driving a bit too slow, so the Porsche might run off into the sunset if I keep being slow. So again, just trying to be careful to here. You can see how the car just bounces off of the curbs, as the Honda up ahead had a bit of a moment, but he was able to save it, so that's really good on their part. It's gonna be nice and careful through here, but the Honda is gonna go ahead and go into the wall, just make out with the wall, and that's gonna bring us up into podium. So up into third place. First place is not too far, so again, if I'm able to somehow work with the Porsche, give him a bit of bump drafting, that may bring us just a little bit closer and get into first place in the slipstream and maybe catch up to them. But with the way that things are going, I don't think that's really going to be the case. Although my car, okay, right there, my car just had a bit of a moment for some reason. The Porsche even had a moment for some reason, and I think it's right there where that's going to see our fate. We're not going to catch up to first place, so at this point we're going to be fighting for second place. But after what happened in the first race, I'm really going to try to be careful to here, try not to hit those bumps in. Yeah, there we go. So the car's behaving a heck of a lot better right there, not hitting those bumps and therefore trying to provoke the car into trying to kill me. But the Porsche, unfortunately, is going to go ahead and brake just a little bit too late and going to go ahead and exit stage right, which is going to bring me to second place. But unfortunately, first place is just way too far off, so we're going to go ahead and skip on forward towards the end of the race, where, yeah, unfortunately, first place did not bin it, so they're going to get the easiest win right there. Okay, maybe not the easiest win, but they're going to get an easy one right there. But I'm going to be able to finish in second place, so that was a pretty fun race. Luckily able to survive, especially that one corner where like the three cars binned it. But yeah, pretty good race. Having lots of fun, surprisingly. I thought I was going to have a miserable time, but I've been having a lot of fun with this race. So we're going to go ahead and get ready to enter race number 3, where we're starting in 8th place again. I think this is the third time we're starting in 8th place, so we're starting just after the final corner, as there are cars behind us starting before the final corner. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and start this race and just try to be nice and careful through turn number 1. Pretty easy to do. Do I hit the apex this time? I actually do hit the apex, and the Honda is gonna go ahead and have a big moment right there, and we're gonna go ahead and easily pass them. But I do gotta say, when I did this other race, at least the first one, I was thinking that I was not going to like this race at all, but honestly I've been having a lot more fun than I thought I'd be having. So that's why I just kept deciding, you know what, I'll come back for just one more race. I think initially I was thinking about only doing 2 races, but well, we're in race number 3, so I've been having quite a bit of fun. I mean, we're all just out here just trying to survive, but we're also trying to have a good race with each other. We're all racing each other pretty respectfully, at least trying to race each other respectfully given circumstances, especially with such a narrow track that's really unforgiving. And there's a car up ahead that's just going to go ahead and make out with Barry R, and it's another Ferrari just going to slow down. They probably got in a collision, but that does mean that we go up 2 positions right there, up into 5th place. So 3rd place not far up ahead. It's going to try to be really careful to here. A lot of cars have been it here so far, but at least from my time going through here in this race, no one binned it. So I think we're finally getting the gist of it. And here I'm just going to decide, you know what, we're just going to have a good time, just play it safe, hang out behind the Porsche. And the Ferrari ended up in the grass, but he ended up saving it. But that does mean that we're going to be right behind her now. So now it's a true fight for 3rd place. 2nd and 1st place are not too far up ahead, but we do have a Ferrari. I think the Ferrari does have damage because they're going a lot slower, so they're going to hold us up quite a bit. But unfortunately, the Ferrari is going to go ahead and John Deere his way through the grass and end up going into the wall. So that brings us to 4th place. 3rd place is now belongs to the Porsche. But we are going to fast forward through this, trying to bump draft the Porsche a bit, but unfortunately I think this is just because we got stuck behind the Ferrari before they bended. That did cost us quite a bit of time, and unfortunately 2nd and 1st place have run off into the sunset. So for us it's going to be a fight for 3rd place, and it is going to be a bit lonely because 5th place is many seconds back. It's about 6-7 seconds back, so yeah, it's just going to be 2nd or 3rd place and I just hanging out with each other. The Porsche is going to defend right here, going to the carousel, going to think better of it to just stay right behind them. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to get a pass done on the outside at the carousel. I don't think I can. Yeah, I definitely don't think I can make that happen. So it's going to stay right behind the Porsche. Going to see if I can somehow try to get around them. At least try to get around him as safely and quickly as possible. But here it's going to be to his advantage because he doesn't really have to do much to defend. All he has to do is just he could just take a very slightly different line, and I'm just not going to be able to get past him. Even if I was actually, I don't know what it'd be like if I was like a super aggressive driver. I kind of don't want to know. Probably just shove myself into the tiniest little gaps, but here I'm just playing it super safe. It's like, you know what, it's not going to be worth fighting it out for now, especially with so many corners just coming at us constantly. So might as well just hang back, just relax for now, and wait until the back straight where I can probably try to slipstream past him and then hold him off from there. But well, okay, never mind. He's gonna have a moment right there. He's gonna go ahead and pass him, but it's at this point where a whole bunch of nothing is going to happen, so we're going to go ahead and skip towards the end of the race where we're going to be able to finish in 3rd place. So yeah, although that is a thing where once I think it's kind of easy to end up alone, especially given how difficult this track is. So like if everyone around you bends it, then you're by yourself and it ends up being just another time trial session. Except now you have fuel and tire wear on, which, I mean, fuel and tire wear are not an issue, but anyways, let's go ahead and go on over towards the final race of the video, this time starting in P11. So now we're starting before the final turn, so we have an extra turn that we need to go through, and I'm not sure what happened here where we ended up getting stuck here for quite a bit. I honestly thought that we were going to get disconnected, and I was like, really, do I really want to stay around for another race? But luckily we did get the countdown and off we go. So if you start P9 or below, you do have to go through the final corner. So yes, you are doing one extra turn compared to everyone else. The LFA, I think they wanted to do a proper last to first run, so that's why they pulled over on the main straight. So we're gonna go ahead and see if we can try to catch up to P9. But I will say that even if you start before the final corner, there is a bit of a chance that the cars up ahead are going to bunch up with each other. So if they bunch up with each other, they're gonna have to slow down, and you'll be able to have a better chance of catching up to them, especially with the slipstream being so strong. If you even get a sniff of someone's slipstream, that will help you catch up to them. I mean, just like now, we've already caught up to 9th place, 8th place, not too far up ahead. It's going to try to be nice and careful through Flugplatz. I'm forgetting my turn name. I'm terrible with turn names. So if you ask me what this turn name is that is coming up, I'm going to tell you that I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what this turn is called. But anyway, it's going to be careful through this corner right here. The car does slide out a little bit, but there's a bit of shenanigans going on just up ahead. 2 cars onto the gravel, 1 car behind is going to go ahead and slide his way onto the wall. And actually, I do want to see what happened here. Let's see, because he ends up braking just a little bit too late. Oh, and he gets onto the grass and just turns to the passenger, and that's the worst way to bait it, where you're just not going to be able to save it there. So that's really unfortunate for him. And back up to us. So we're up to 7th place because a couple cars did bin it into the gravel. And gonna see if we can try to catch up to P4. Yeah, that's P4. So just gonna try to be nice and careful through here, just as usual. Yeah, I tend to be a pretty passive driver, so I definitely won't mind just hanging out back here, because that's where I'm just like, you know what, I'm just gonna let you guys just murder each other, just send each other into the walls, and I'll just go ahead and take your spots from there. Although someone did bin it just up ahead. I think it's the Porsche that binned it, but they did rejoin the track, so they're going to be right in front of the Ford GT. But they do have dirty tires, so he's just going to go ahead and go into, I think he went into the wall on the left. But yeah, there's no grip on his tires because he was on the grass, so he has dirty tires. So he's struggling to keep up with the pack as he's slowly dropping down the spots. Gonna go ahead and brake for this turn, but the Porsche is gonna have a really big moment and end up in the wall. So we're gonna go ahead and gain another spot now at 6th place. And here is where I'm gonna try to be really careful through here. The Jaguar defending for reasons unknown to man. Gonna try to be careful through here as well, hoping we can catch up to P3 because P3 is starting to run away at this point. So I am going to start bumping the Jaguar, hoping that we can somehow catch up to P3. You got to be really careful to here, but I need to make sure that I'm not too careful. But yeah, just going to go ahead and just go really wide there. Although I just noticed that P7 is now behind us, so now it's a 4-car battle for P4. So that's definitely not going to be as fun as I want it to be. Maybe a bit more terrifying. Yeah, there you go. There's a Mazda right behind, and he's going to end up in the grass. And actually, oh god, I saw more cars behind us. So it's a multiple car battle for P4. P3 is pretty much run off into the sunset, and the Jaguar is actually going to get the move done right here. And yeah, that's a pretty good move right there. Well done on the Jaguar for getting that move done. And me, I'm just over here just eating curbs for breakfast. I'm going to try to be really careful through here, but the Honda is going to go ahead and go into the Jaguar. Going to send him into the wall. I'm going to go a bit wide. The Porsche is going to try to go for the move, but I'm going to be able to defend my spot and go into the carousel. So the Porsche is going to be right behind us. But there's a bit of shenanigans going on behind it, and yeah, someone ended up getting murdered at the carousel, unfortunately. So that's going to leave me with P4 for now, just trying to fight for P4. And I think the Honda is decent through these corners, but they do have to be really careful about any curves because the Honda is less tolerable to curves. Like that one will go out of its way to kill you if you hit a bump. It's gonna be right behind him, and you can see the car is gonna have a really big moment right there. He ends up catching it, really well done on him, but that's a little bit of a bump right there. But yeah, that bit of a moment was enough for me to be able to catch up to him. Just gonna see if we can try to somehow run away from him, because I do have to worry about the long back straight, and with the really powerful slipstream, if they're pretty close, then they're definitely gonna pass me. So just trying to be really careful through here, or precisely here, but don't mind me. I'm just over here just having massive skill issues as usual. But we will fast forward through this. Just trying to be a bit careful through here, lifting off our throttle, trying not to hit the curbs, and having a bit of a moment right there. Yeah, not the best of turns, but we do keep the car on a track. Yeah, I'm getting a bit nervous because 5th and 6th place are not too far behind, and if they stay in my slipstream, then they're definitely going to catch up, and there's nothing I'll be able to do, especially with how strong the slipstream is. But they are starting to fight it out with each other, and they're not even driving behind me. I don't know why. I think it's the Honda that's in 5th place right now. I think if they drove behind me, they probably would have been able to catch up to me. Same goes with the Mazda that is in 6th place. But yeah, there you go. I think they're getting the idea now that they need to be behind me, directly behind me, to get the slipstream. But it's going to be too little, too late. Just need to be able to survive this corner right here, and luckily I'll be able to go through it without too much of a fuss. Go through the final corner, and that's going to be it for this race. Finishing P4, so not too bad. I did have a lot of fun with this race, but that's going to be all for me. So if you like this video, you can press the like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. I do recommend giving this race a go. At least if you don't like racing, then at least do the time trial, because I think the time trial was pretty fun. The daily race is also pretty fun, but that's all for me. Take care, everyone. This is Mr. CA, and I'll see you in the next video.